Is your monk just a squishy punching bag with delusions of grandeur? Are you tired of spending all your key points just to deal less damage than the fighter did with a single attack? Today, we're ranking all 10 monk traditions, from absolute garbage to god tier. And if you're playing number 10 on our list, my condolences to your party. Banana breakdown here. I've spent far too many hours playing monks, making monks, and watching my monk get absolutely demolished by a single fireball because, let's face it, D8 hit dice, and no armor is basically asking to be turned into a crispy banana fritter. Quick note, this is based on mechanical effectiveness, not how cool they look punching things. So grab your meditation beads and prepare to get personally offended, because we're ranking all 10 official monk traditions. Before we start throwing hands, here's our ranking system. S tier, enlightenment achieved. These fix the monk's problems and make the class actually good. A tier, path to nirvana. Strong options that do what monks should do, but better. B tier, finding balance. Solid choices that won't embarrass you at the table. C tier, still meditating. Functional, but you'll be eyeing the fighter with envy. D tier, lost the way. Should have gone with literally any other class. Starting at the bottom, it's the way of the 4 elements. The Avatar-inspired monk that makes me question if the designers ever actually played it. The concept is brilliant. Bend elements, breathe fire, ride the winds. The execution, like trying to fuel a Lamborghini with a thimble of petrol. Everything costs too much key. You'll spend 4 points to cast what a wizard does with a 3rd level slot, like Fireball, Flames of the Phoenix, at level 11, and then you're done. No more fancy bending, just back to punching like a boring regular monk. I once played a 4 elements monk in a 6-month campaign. Want to know how many times I used Water Whip? Twice. Because after that, I had no key left for Stunning Strike or Flurry of Blows. The only reason this isn't in a theoretical F tier is that Water Whip and Fist of Unbroken Air can occasionally be useful, but unless your DM gives you a key regenerating magic item, you're just a monk with fewer resources than everyone else. Tell me in the comments, has anyone actually had success with 4 elements, or is it universally disappointing? Now let's look at 2 subclasses that try to solve the monk's range problem with questionable results. First up, the Way of the Sun Soul. Want to shoot radiant beams like you're in Dragon Ball Z? Great. Want them to actually do decent damage? Well, your Radiant Sunbolt starts at a pitiful 1d4 plus dex at level 3. It does scale with your martial arts die, eventually reaching 1d10 plus dex at level 17, but that's still behind the Warlock's Eldritch Blast plus Agonizing Blast. By the time you get Searing Sunburst at level 11, basically a weaker fireball that costs 3 key and deals only 2d6 damage, the wizard's been casting actual 8d6 fireballs for 6 levels. Oh wait, I've just been informed Sun Soul monks actually exist in the wild. If you're one of the 7 people playing this subclass, leave a comment explaining why. The Way of the Kensei, meanwhile, struggles with an identity crisis. It lets you use better weapons, which sounds great, until you realise many abilities require you to not use those weapons. You get a longsword, but need to make unarmed strikes to boost your defences with agile parry. You get a longbow, but your bonus action abilities often require melee attacks. It's like buying a Ferrari, but having to get out and push it every half mile. Both these subclasses try to fix monk weaknesses, but create new problems in the process. They're not terrible, just perpetually disappointing, like a birthday present that turns out to be socks. Finding this helpful? Quick tap that like button while I continue embarrassing myself with monk stories. Now we're getting to monks that can actually contribute to the party without apologising. The Way of the Long Death is D&D's way of saying, this monk refuses to die. Think of it as cockroach energy, but in a good way. Every time you drop an enemy to 0 HP, you gain temporary hit points equal to your wisdom modifier, plus your monk level. In a typical fight with multiple enemies, that's a substantial buffer that grows as you level up. The real game changer is Mastery of Death at 11th level. Spend a key point to drop to 1 HP instead of 0 when taking damage. This can save you multiple times per short rest, making you surprisingly tanky for a class that dresses like they're going to yoga. I watched our Long Death monk get hit by 3 consecutive critical hits from a boss and still remained standing. The DM was ready to tear his notes in half. The downside: you're not bringing much to the party besides your stubborn refusal to die. No significant damage boost, no utility, just survival. Next up, the Way of Shadow. For everyone who watched too much Naruto and thought, yes, this is my personality now. This subclass makes you the ninja you've always wanted to be. Minor illusion cantrip, darkness, pass without trace, all castable with ki. You're instantly the stealthiest member of any party. Shadow Step is where this subclass shines. Teleport 60 feet between shadows as a bonus action, and get advantage on your next attack. It's tactically brilliant and ridiculously stylish. Where Shadow Monks struggle is raw damage output. You're not hitting any harder than a regular monk, but the mobility and utility more than make up for it. Shadow Monks, what's your favourite sneaky tactic? Teleport behind and stunning strike, disappear mid-combat, drop your shady techniques in the comments. Rounding out our B tier is the Way of the Ascendant Dragon, aka What If Monks, but Dragons. This subclass gives you versatility through elemental damage types: Acid Punch, Fire Kick, Lightning Headbutt, your choice, and you can switch them on a short rest. Wings Unfurled gives you temporary flight at the 6th level, which opens up tactical options most monks can only dream of. Vertical mobility is huge in D&D. The drawback? None of these abilities significantly increase your damage output. It's stylish and adaptable, but you're still hitting about as hard as a basic monk. Right, we've made it to the good stuff. A-tier monks are the ones that actually deliver on the power fantasy of being a martial arts master. If you're enjoying the breakdown so far, a quick tap on the like button helps the channel and ensures your monk character will roll nothing but natural 20s. Results not guaranteed. The Way of the Drunken Master isn't about actual drunkenness. It's about fighting like you're 3 pints in at the local pub. Unpredictable, frustrating, and surprisingly effective. What makes this subclass brilliant is drunken technique. When you use Flurry of Blows, you also get free disengage and plus 10 feet of movement. You can dart between multiple enemies, smack each one, and be completely out of reach before they can retaliate. At 6th level, you get Redirect Attack, letting you turn an enemy's miss into an attack against another creature. It's utterly disrespectful, and I absolutely love it. I once watched our drunken master fight 6 hobgoblins simultaneously, never taking a single hit while making them repeatedly attack each other. The DM eventually just closed his notebook and went for a drink. The downside: you're Kai hungry, and your damage output is still standard monk level. But for sheer battlefield control, and making your DM question their life choices, it's outstanding. The Way of the Open Hand is the classic monk subclass, and sometimes classics exist for a reason. This is pure martial arts excellence. Open hand technique gives you powerful effects to add to your flurry of blows, knocking enemies prone, pushing them 15 feet away, or preventing reactions. That's incredible control from level 3. What pushes this into A tier is Quivering Palm at 17th level. It's the monk's Delete Enemy button. Spend 3 key points to set up a vibration, then later spend another key point for a potential instant kill. Even if they save, that's 10d10 necrotic damage. Quick build tip. Open hand monks benefit most from maxing dexterity first, then wisdom. Consider the mobile feat to replicate some of the drunken master's mobility without spending ki on flurry of blows. Worst matchup. Creatures immune to being prone or pushed, like gelatinous cubes or anything huge, gargantuan. Open hand monks. What's the most satisfying enemy you've ever knocked prone or pushed off something high? Drop your stories below. We've reached the pinnacle. The monk subclasses that are so good they might actually make you forget you're playing a class with D8 hit dice and an identity crisis. The Way of Mercy. The Way of Mercy finally answers the question, what if monks actually helped the party? It's the perfect blend of damage, healing, and utility that makes your teammates actually happy to see you. Hand of Healing lets you heal as an action, no key cost, for your martial arts die, plus Wisdom modifier HP. You can also replace one attack during Flurry of Blows with it, making it incredibly action efficient. Hand of Harm adds necrotic damage to your strikes by spending ki. Both are effective and versatile. At 6th level, Physician's Touch lets you remove a variety of conditions: blinded, deafened, paralysed, poisoned, or stunned when you use Hand of Healing, and inflict the poisoned condition with Hand of Harm. This level of versatility is unheard of for monks. Hot take. Way of Mercy isn't just the best monk subclass, it might be better than some cleric domains at balancing damage and healing. Fight me in the comments. Quick build tip. Prioritize Wisdom equally with Dexterity for Mercy monks. The healer feat synergizes beautifully with your theme and gives non-key healing options. Worst matchup. Undead or constructs immune to necrotic damage, and conditions reduce your versatility. The Way of the Astral Self is what happens when someone at Wizards of the Coast binged JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and said, "Put this in D&D immediately," and I'm so glad they did. This subclass fixes multiple monk problems in one go. Arms of the Astral Self lets you attack using Wisdom instead of Strength, Dexterity reducing Mad. Deal force damage with your spectral arms. Add Wisdom to Strength checks, improving utility. Initially, your reach is the standard 5 feet, but at level 6 when you activate both arms and visage together, you get that sweet 10-foot reach that keeps you safer in combat. At higher levels, your visage gives enhanced senses, and Body of the Astral Self at level 11 gives you deflect energy, like deflect missiles, but for elemental damage: acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, or thunder. My Astral Self monk once held a narrow bridge against 8 enemies, because after level 6, they couldn't get past my 10-foot reach. The DM finally had archers show up, because nothing could touch me. Quick build tip. Astral Self monks can prioritize Wisdom above all else. Consider the Crusher feat to knock enemies 5 feet away when you hit, maintaining your safety bubble. Worst matchup. Anything with teleportation or high Wisdom, save bonuses will ruin your day. Astral Self monks. What's your favourite visual description for your spectral arms? Share your character's astral aesthetic below. Here's our final monk subclass tier list. S tier. Way of Mercy, Way of the Astral Self. The only monks that fix the class's fundamental problems. A tier. Way of the Open Hand, Way of the Drunken Master. Excellent at what monks should do: control and mobility. B tier. Way of the Ascendant Dragon, Way of Shadow, Way of the Long Death. Solid options with clear strengths but noticeable limitations. C tier. Way of the Kensei, Way of the Sun Soul. Conceptually cool but mechanically disappointing. D tier. Way of the Four Elements. A masterclass in how not to design a subclass. Now I can already hear the keyboard warriors typing furiously that I've put their beloved subclass too low. But my Four Elements monk is amazing. No, it's not. Your DM is giving you special treatment because they feel sorry for you. Let's address the most controversial ranking, Way of the Kensei at C tier. Many players think this should be higher because weapons equals damage. The problem is that monk weapons aren't significantly better than your martial arts, die at higher levels, and the subclass actively discourages using them with many of its features. Some will argue the Shadow Monk deserves A tier for its utility. It was a close call, but without damage boosts, you're trading power for cool factor. That said, it's by far the most fun B tier option. Which monk subclass should you play? It depends on what you want. If you want to be actually useful to your party, Way of Mercy. If you want the highest damage, Way of the Astral Self. If you want battlefield control, Way of the Open Hand. If you want mobility and evasion, Way of the Drunken Master. If you want stealth and teleportation, Way of Shadow. If you want to frustrate your DM with stubborn survivability, Way of the Long Death. Remember, this tier list is about mechanical effectiveness. If you love the flavour of Sun Soul or Four Elements, play them anyway. Just maybe ask your DM for some homebrew buffs, like halving key costs for 4 elements or boosting Sun Soul damage. The most fun I've ever... What are your experiences with monk subclasses? Drop a comment below with your own rankings, or tell me about your favourite monk character. If this tier list helped you choose your next character, punch that like button with the fury of 1,000 flurry of blows, and subscribe for more. Until next time, Banana Breakdown, out.